One stock that is about to skyrocket. It is a Mag 7 stock. We're talking Meta, Amazon, blank. The S stands for 7. I would name all the 7 right now, but I don't want to get embarrassed. Pretty sure Nvidia is in there. Pretty sure Microsoft's in there. Pretty sure Apple's in there. I don't know where I'm at here in terms of 5 out of 7. Google is the stock that is about to skyrocket. In my opinion, it's already holding relative strength compared to the rest of the market, while Nvidia sells off, while Amazon looks sketchy. Stock is kind of like drifting down. Palantir are doing the same, drifting down. Google's holding up. So is it that their backlog for revenue is growing? Google Cloud backlog actually grew in the second half of 2025. I'll look into exactly the press release about that. How is it that a company that has Gemini, that seems to be lagging to OpenAI's ChatGPT, that seems to having all of its links just crawled and then resurfaced in these other LLMs, still doing so well? Well, it could be that the LLMs are still opening the links and those ads are still being served. I don't know. I can give a best answer, but I do know that the chart looks great and there's a low risk opportunity to get in. So let's take a look at that with the help from Gemini.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So this is what Gemini is telling us. Revenue growth has accelerated in Q2. This is a cloud platform, so the backlog of orders is huge, and this is, of course, what ChatGPT, OpenAI's Sam Altman is saying, right? They just need more compute, more compute, more compute. Analyst sentiment is, of course, positive, highlighting Gemini models because I'm using Gemini. And this is the question, right? This was the fear, right? People are just going to talk to chatbots. Why would they want to go search a bunch of links in Google? I personally have just been using ChatGPT. Like when I open up Chrome, so, I think Perplexity just raised a bunch of money to have a new browser, which would be a real problem for Google because the only Google, I use a lot of Google services, like Gmail and stuff, YouTube, of course, as well, but I don't use google.com much, right? I just use Chrome. And then when I ask, like, how do you pet a cat, right, it just goes to ChatGPT. So I have that as a Chrome extension, and then that crawls all these links that are from Google. Well, they're not actually from Google, they're from the open internet. It's just I'm used to associating Google with all these links, right? But we're not going to be, ridiculous here. The point is the stock moved up recently, and it moved up a lot. This year, it's up 60%, but this is a weekly chart, so everything went up a lot over that period, Nvidia being no exception. But Nvidia has been basing over the past couple months and then sort of didn't break out. And previously we were looking at Nvidia as kind of an indicator of the broader market because their $4 trillion market cap does compose 2% of the entire universe of SPY stocks, right? So it makes sense that that would affect the SPY when Nvidia goes down. And look, SPY is holding even while Nvidia goes down. I think that's a lot in part to AMD, which is a big market cap going up, in addition to Google and others. And if we look at, what are some of these big stocks holding the market up, we can say, yeah, Nvidia is $4 trillion, but just below them is Google. And look at Google's relative strength to Nvidia. It's pretty significant. So there is an opportunity to buy this sort of breakout level. Typically, I wouldn't want or think it's a good idea to buy after what is essentially 6 days up in a row. This is still a good day, given that the market looked so ugly on that day. So this is the market on that day, right? Pretty bad. So Google's showing significant relative strength. You can buy Google or Alphabet stock. I think it's like Class A, Class B. It doesn't really matter because they move essentially the same. If you were like a institution, you would need to account for getting the right class shares or whatever, or if you were in the early venture, late stage growth investor or whatever, you want to cross all your E's, cross all your T's. You get what I'm saying, just trying to say. We're not. We're just equities investors. This is common stock. You just buy one of these. It doesn't matter. They look pretty similar to me. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think maybe GOOG is slightly less wiki. They both move 3% a day. I don't know. Almost the same price. So the point is, there's sort of a level here to buy off of as well at 252. And if we go back to a weekly chart of 5 years, you know, it's all blue skies. And of course, on a 20-year chart, we are in the stratosphere. So that is Google. You know, it's like the monster energy of tech, just an absolute behemoth. But importantly, to its peers right now, it's showing relative strength again. If we just look at Meta, it's not super strong right now. It's actually coming below this level. And then look at Apple, it did not break out because its breakout opportunity sort of coincided with the market. Trump tariff, China, however you pronounce his name, sort of disagreement over the rare earth policies of having to approve those companies before they ship rare earths out of China. And Trump saying, it's all fine, but you know, the damage was done, so Apple is down. Tesla, after that big breakout and the sell the news on the robotaxi delivery numbers, is suffering from the market, but actually is falling the market at this point and probably unplayable until after those earnings come out. Maybe it establishes a high volume day. You can get in on a high volume day at the close or after the close the next day. Use that close as a risk level. And then other big companies in this sort of category, Palantir, yeah, you could say it's sort of at a level you can buy, but when you zoom in, you see it's actually kind of looks, like it's just barely holding on here. So this big day that was down was actually prior to the market going down. So this is totally separate. And then you have to deal with earnings as well for that one. So those are sort of, the ones all in the same conversation. I mean, Intel sort of in that conversation, but with the government stake, it's a little disconnected. Robinhood pulling back as well after what's been an absolutely insane run. Maybe buyable through a year. Maybe it needs to go sideways. Maybe not enough time to buy before earnings in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's kind of interesting as a short-term week, 2 week opportunity. But just sort of laying all those out as sort of the groundwork as to why Google's relative strength is significant and outperforming its peers. So looks pretty good on this time frame. There's the level, risk a few bucks, make 10, 20, 30, and maybe get another breakout. So that's what we're looking like. Don't want to hold a lot into earnings, which is maybe late next week as the time of the recording of this video, mid next week. So that's something to be aware of, but you might get a 5-10% move prior to that, which is kind of what we're after here. 5% on a $200 stock. It's, whatever it is, 20 bucks or something like that. So that is kind of the move. You get 10, 15 bucks out of that. Sell some out, sell some as it goes down. If it does it all, be in profit, and then earnings happens. That's the idea. Now, why Google, right? It seems a little silly asking Google why Google's going to go up. So probably going to limit the use of Gemini at this point. But ChatGPT is not cooperating at all right now. So in Claude, I've already hit my use limit. So I have paid for all these at once. In the past, I paid for, I think, ChatGPT and Claude, and then Meta. I don't know if you can pay for it, but there is some bull cases for Google. I think the main question everyone has on their mind is, of course, the ChatGPT issue. If people are used to clicking the blue links, are they going to keep going there? Is YouTube revenue going to make up for that? Is GCP revenue going to make up for the downfall of the blue links? Are we going to finally see that Google isn't in fact not a monopoly on search, but it's actually a suite of products, including, probably not including these Nest smart home devices, because I certainly don't think that's that big. But advertising on YouTube, advertising on display networks is also pretty big. Banner ads and on the sides of websites and all that is still huge. In-app advertising, they might have a piece of that as well. And then they've got big price targets, respectable places, Guggenheim. And then now the question becomes, are they going to survive ChatGPT? There's always rug dirt. regulatory scrutiny in big companies. I don't think that's really that notable. Although antitrust is a problem. So they survived that. They must have really good lawyers. They do have very good lawyers. And then they've got these little sort of like tchotchke gimmick sort of things, kind of like ChatGPT putting out Sora. That of a company of this scale, it's not really a gimmick. It actually could, this is a big deal. Gemini getting the top of the ranking. I don't know if it's still there. I don't think it is, but that's a big deal. Of course, you had to pay for Gemini. You had to pay for all this. I mean, you have to pay for Sora too. I think some people got some early invite links, but it's crazy to even be talking about image generators as a big driver of revenue. But the fact is, people really like photos. I mean, I remember I went to a Google, whatever it's called, I/O thing, and in like Cambridge, Boston or whatever, and they talked about photos for like most of it. It was like the number one thing people care about with Google. It's like, we got a new thing about the photos. We got a new image recognition. We've got blah, 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 blah. But here's the deal. The stock has outperformed its peers, and they're probably not going to win self-driving, but no one expected them to win self-driving anyway. That's sort of not going to be a problem. So yeah, they are also sort of well known to be probably doing the most research-wise related to biology and like large computational models using AI to help with drug discovery. So, that sort of stereotype of Google being like the most do good of the, do no evil, may actually have some footing. So we'll see what happens with earnings. Probably want to make sure that this breakup of the entire company doesn't happen before you invest for the long term. That seems like an evolving story. And then, yeah, this is good that advertising revenues grew by 11%. This is obviously trustworthy. This because audited and all that. So, and then this is real as well. Growth in global cloud, so that's huge. But yeah, I don't know how the number of tokens processed is an indicator of value. I guess it is. I guess that's how you indicate. It's like monthly average users times monthly average usage or something. Tokens is just words, right? So whatever the most words goes through. You would think Google would have more words than ChatGPT, but I don't know if they're counting people who just search in Google and then it shows this AI overview or not. This is a revenue increase. That's good. Look, I'm not a financial analyst. We looked at the chart. I'm not saying you're going to hold this for the next 5 years. So I kind of running out of things to say that are that constructive. So I'm going to shut up. Here's the chart. That's the level. It's outperforming its peers in the Mag 7. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. If you want to see more ideas when they come out, hit that subscribe. And if you want to take the next step, reach that next level in your investing, head over to stockscommunity.com. You do get 20% off when you use code Q4. You can try it out super low risk for 7 days for just a nominal, like $25 fee, just to get your feet wet, see what it's like, and then make a decision from there with a fee just to keep the bots out and to not just have a bunch of random people popping in and popping out. So hope that helps. We are live, and I will see you in the next video if you're seeing this recording. Good luck.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 This is Sam Putnam.